Good morning and welcome to Living 2012. Welcome to Washington. We are actually going to film portions of the program. We're able to send a message to Kolkata, where the sex workers are, and also so that we have a documentation of this process.
There was a time, really not so long ago, when many of us found it hard to imagine such a meeting taking place in the US. And it's thanks to the really persistent advocacy of many of the folks in this room from the US and elsewhere that the ban on entry for people living with HIV has been lifted. However, let's not forget the 46 countries that still restrict our movements, and that our colleagues from sex worker and people who use drug movements are often even more constrained. In the coming days, looking to the future, we need to interrogate what our global strategies should be and what we need to achieve them. What has been working? What should we stop doing? What do we need to do more of? And what will we need to do differently or for the first time? Community mobilization in its many forms is now widely acknowledged as a key element for moving us forward towards the 2015 political declaration goals and the MDGs, and ultimately for getting us to zero. We need to look very closely at what's happening to the Global Fund right now. And I would encourage those of you who can to engage in discussions that are taking place over the coming week. People living with HIV played an integral role in the creation of the fund, and we need to ensure it keeps working with and for us. And I mean for all of us, no matter which community we're from or which region we live in. We have to keep asking who gets funded and who receives services and who is excluded and why, and what we can do to change the status quo. I was really horrified by the statistic in the recent UNAIDS report that was released just the other day, that only 4% of people who inject drugs and are in need of treatment are able to access it, only 4%. Sex workers, people who use drugs, gay and other MSM, transgender people and other key populations are being failed in the AIDS response across the world. And it is our responsibility, as well as the responsibility of others, to advocate with and for them. This is what we need to plan for in the coming days. We must dig deep into our imaginations and think creatively and boldly outside of our comfort zones and putting aside institutional hats and differences to determine how we can take these steps to change our world and bring others along with us. Thank you.
What's really important now is to hear from our brothers and sisters who can't be here. As many of you know, the drug users and sex workers are not permitted to come to the United States. And in spite of efforts by the Conference Coordinating Committee of the International AIDS Society, of this conference, AIDS 2012, it wasn't possible to get a waiver or to find a mechanism to have sex workers and drug users to join us for this coming week. So instead, they're holding sort of satellite conferences, hubs. The sex worker hub is in Kolkata. So we have a video address from the Network of Sex Worker Projects, NSWP, and also from the International Network of People Who Use Drugs, INPUD.
You're about to see some video footage from different countries in Asia which show what are the main issues for HIV-positive sex workers in Asia. And although we've only got messages from Asia, there are similar issues for positive sex workers all around the world.
And now we have a report from the drug users. They had their hub last week in Kiev.
Привет, Вашингтону из Киева!
На протяжении 2 последних дней состоялась встреча активистов из числа потребителей наркотиков и людей, находящихся в программах заместительной терапии из региона Восточной Европы и Центральной Азии. Целью встречи были определение приоритетов сообщества потребителей инъекционных наркотиков и клиентов программ заместительной терапии, а также вопросы самоидентификации, с которыми сталкиваются представители данного сообщества, в особенности ВИЧ-позитивные люди.
All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to stand up and we're going to remember that our brothers and sisters who are sex workers and drug users can't be here. And we're going to remember when we go into our breakout sessions that we have to remember them and think about these issues from their perspective. Okay, so turn around to the camera. Yay! Oh yeah, okay, thanks. Excellent.
Hello, greetings from Washington, D.C. We gathered here today for the LIVING2012 Summit. We're going to go around and ask people for their impression of this summit and see what message they have for you.
LIVING2012 has been like a revelation for me. All these ideas coming together, the synergy that we're having, is you don't get to share ideas this way and share emotional reactions as we have here.
It feels good to be around so many people that are discussing my life. And what I mean by my life is, you know, they're talking about things that are affecting me every day.
It's amazing when people with HIV get together, the kind of solidarity and support we show across regions and across different experiences, and that's been very heartening.
I'm always excited when people living with HIV come together. It gives us a sense of community and family.
It keeps us proactive. Like, we're not just sitting and listening, we're part of the whole process that is actually happening here.
As people with HIV, I think these 2 days are really exciting. I think the rest of the International AIDS Conference is probably it's not going to be as responsive to our needs, so I think it's an exciting time for us all to get together and dialogue and build some kind of response to what's going on.
So far, I like the dialogue and the issues that are universal, despite whether you stay in Europe or in Africa. Most of the issues that we are bringing up as people living with HIV are the same.
I am hugely disappointed that the sex workers and people who use drugs aren't here at this conference. I think that it is a loss that is very difficult for us to move forward from.
I was very disheartened to know that sex workers and drug users were not going to be able to come into the country, because as an ex-offender who has done some of those same things, I saw that as very unfair.
For me, it's great to have the privilege to be here and meeting lots of activists, all the new. But I am really saddened that a lot of our colleagues who are involved in the sex worker movement, who are people who use drugs, cannot be here today. And I also have colleagues from the UK that weren't allowed in because they have a criminal record. So, you know, my experience is full of the sadness, awareness that we are not all together as a community here. And some very important people are not here.
We hope that we'll be able to carry their voices, because it is crucial for us that everyone can be heard here in Washington.
Kolkata, namaste, kemen ache. Don't mind, but there are many other Indians who have got the opportunity to come out here in US and represent India. We hope we will definitely rock in this 2012 AIDS conference.
So thank you all for gathering in Kolkata. I hope that you have a really great time, and thank you for all your advocacy that you're doing.
We are with you in spirit, and we are bringing you issues on the table.
There are people around the world who are sending you lots of love and support.
It's a bit sad that you're not all able to be here, but we honestly hope that you get to hear a lot of the experiences that's happening here.
So we haven't forgot you. We're going to continue fighting for access to treatment for all of us who live with HIV.
We are thinking about you every day. We are working here, we're discussing things, and we want you to know you're not forgotten. You're on our minds, you're in our hearts, and you're in the work, and you're at the table with us. And together, we're going to turn the tide.